These forms are sculpted with, you can see the grooves between the bones that make up the toe, or that go to the toes. Now these bones that you're showing here, or lines that you're showing here, are actually this part of the paw. Okay, the toes themselves, that's where the form ends, right at the toes. So this is what we need to replace, is from these knuckles down is what we're going to replace with clay now. And on the underside, there's a bulge on the bottom of the foot there. That's where the pad is, and that's where the pad of your foot is going to go. These animals walk on that pad and on their toes, on the toe pads. And the toes themselves actually bend up and over like that. So we're going to replace those toes with some clay now. And for that, again, I use non-hardening. I use oil clay. You can use critter clay, whatever your own preferences are. These are the methods that I use to get the results that I get. That's about the size of a pencil. The outside two toes are shorter than the center two toes by a little bit. And if you have some reference around after you've skinned that carcass, hang on to some of that stuff. Keep it in your freezer for reference if you're not familiar with sizes and just how things look. They're about, maybe 3/4 to 7/8 for the outside toes, and about 1 inch long for the inside toes. I'm going to start with, here's just a little upholstery needle. I use the round end to kind of open that skin up on those toes where it's going to slide in there. Take the longer one, I'm going to start in the center, push that in. When you know it's to the end, just give it a little squeeze there. And on this end of it, I'm going to flatten that right out like that. I'm going to go to the next one. Make sure that one's opened up. Push that one in. Kind of hard to... It's all the way in there, so I'm going to squeeze that a little bit there. And flatten that a little bit. And I kind of blended those two together there back at the end. Another one here. Slide that in. Again, flatten it and kind of blend it to that one. One more. Blend that one. Now what we have are the 4 toes, and they're all hooked together up at this point here. See, does the clay show up there? You can see the individual pieces of clay going into the toes here, and I've kind of smeared them together there. So what that's going to do is I put that on there where I squish that out, that's going to blend right onto the top of that foot right there. Okay? And as you pull the pad back, now you're going to kind of go into position. You can see what I'm doing here now. Now, these 2 shorter outside toes, they're just about in the right position right now. These 2 center toes, you need to put your finger in there and almost bend them to a 90-degree angle. And that's going to, as you pull the toenails back up this way now, that's going to create that pattern that we want with the 2 toes there, the two side toes on a little bit lower and on the outside there, and then your pad. And when you look at the top side of that foot, now you've got definition between your toes there. There's the center there and there, and it's also got that little bit of a round. And we'll have to adjust those more by the time we get them sewn up. They're going to get a little distorted and all. And once we put it back on the artificial limb over there, we will do some final adjustments on them. I like to get them relatively close before I sew everything up, so I know if I need to add more clay or any other problems that need attention. So that one looks pretty good right now.